Hey guys, it's your boy Shane. I'm back. I just wanted to talk a little bit about how supportive most people in my life have been since I came out. I was honestly expecting not a lot of people to be super supportive. It took me about 4 years before I could really say that I'm transgender. And it took a really long time for me to tell even my best friends at the time that I identified as a male. And it took me a while to be okay with me able to say that. So after I told a lot of my best friends, it was a bittersweet moment because I felt at the moment, oh my God, they're gonna freak. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, I'm gonna possibly lose my friends. What am I gonna do? Like, every bad scenario that could possibly happen popped into my head, and I'm like, oh my God, like, I really love my friends, but like, at the end of the day, what if they're not comfortable with the situation? Like, what's gonna happen? But the moment I knew that it was time to start telling people, I was just really unhappy with myself. I just couldn't live like this anymore. So I talked it over with my wife, and her being extremely supportive. I love her so much. She's so amazing. She gave me the courage to go out and tell people. So I told my best friends first, and to my surprise, they were like, oh, that's cool. And I was seriously like, what? I had thought up all these crazy scenarios in my head just for people to be like, that's awesome. So that kind of gave me a boost to tell more people. So the great thing is I had started a new job like right as I came out to my best friends. And I got hired at this job that I've been really wanting to work at. I'm not going to say where just because. And so I told them I go by Shane, that, the name that's on my birth certificate isn't the name that I go by. And they were completely 100% okay with that. And then when I had mentioned, hey, like, I'm a transgender guy, it was really, really scary to mention that because even though they can't fire me for that, I was just really afraid that something would lead up to where I got fired because of complications or just because they didn't want to deal with that. So they were like, let's get rid of you. But to my surprise, that wasn't it at all. Everyone at work is extremely supportive. If customers are like, hey, can you help me with this? She's not helping me right now. My coworkers will go up to them and say, hey, he will help you when he gets to it. Like, he will do this. He can help you. And it's just like an ego booster. Like, wow, I can't believe, like, I was so fearful for what, like, everyone is completely accepting and try their hardest to help me in my journey. One of my coworkers had mentioned that this is the first time he's ever met anyone like me, so it's really hard for him to try and use the pronouns that I go by. And he does mess up every now and then, but he comes up to me and he's like, I'm really sorry that I messed up, but I'm really trying. And that to me just is amazing because even for him to go against everything he believes or everything he's ever known just to try and help me out is insane. And telling my family, well, some of my family was really, really scary. When I had came out as a lesbian years and years ago, almost 10 years ago, it didn't end too well. I lost a lot of family at the time. I was the first one to ever come out in all my family. It was really, really hard. So I was really fearful to tell my twin sister, to tell my little sisters that, like, hey, this is who I am, you know? So told my big sister first. I really spewed the 100% spew. And to my surprise, I was so afraid. Like, I sent her a text and just staring at my phone, waiting. Like, you see the three little dots on the iPhone, like, okay, they're responding. What's going to happen? Like, this can go one or two ways. And to my surprise, she was extremely supportive. She the words that she had given me were just so intense. I could not even understand. She just was extremely supportive. And that put a big weight off my shoulders. At that point, I was like, I can tell anybody. So I told all of my friends that this is who I am. Like, there was no holding back anymore with my friends. And a lot of them did accept me. There's a few people who are touch and go about it, but if I'm being 100% honest, they were never really my friends to begin with. The ones that really accepted me are the people who I see on a daily basis, who are always at my house. I'm always at their house. We're always doing stuff together. So those are the people I want in my life anyways. And the biggest and hardest thing for me was to tell my, so far, is to tell my twin sister that I was a transgender guy. She's very prideful in us looking the same, even though I obviously look like this, and she's extremely girly. But I was afraid because I have a nephew who's 7, and I was afraid that she would freak out because he's known me all his life as one person. And I was honestly afraid that she was gonna have a hard time trying to explain to her son the whole changes, and I just thought that she was gonna shut me out. It took me a long time to tell her, and when I did, I felt like a complete fool. Even though she doesn't understand what transgender means, or she doesn't understand anything about it, she's still supportive. So even though she has no idea that a transgender guy identifies as a male and that wants top surgery and bottom surgery and takes testosterone, she has no idea about any of that. But she still supports me and says that no matter what I do, she'll be happy as long as I'm happy. And that was a mind blower. That was like the icing on the cake. At that point, I felt like I had nothing to hold back anymore. I posted on my social medias that this is who I was. Everything, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, everything you can think of, I had posted, hey, this is who I am. I poured my heart out. I explained that the past 4 years I've been struggling with my identity. And I honestly had enough. I fought myself for 4 years, and I just couldn't do it anymore. And if you didn't accept who I was, there was no friendship. And to my surprise again, so many people were supportive. A lot of my friends on social media were like, you go, Shane, we love you, like, I'm glad you're happy, and all this other crazy stuff. And again, to my surprise, I'm like, what? I was thinking this all in my head. Like, this was all me. My aunt was extremely supportive. Again, she has no idea what transgender means. She doesn't know who they are, what they're about, or anything. But her words of kindness were just enough to make me feel so accepted. And I haven't told my parents yet. That has been my biggest struggle. And honestly, don't know when I'm going to tell my parents. That is another story for another time, I guess. But that's the only... My parents are the only people who don't know. Everyone else knows. Everyone else knows. So to have so much support from so many people has brought me to a whole nother life. Like, I feel I can be finally me. And it, even though it's hard for my friends I've known for 10 plus years to start calling me by the him, he pronouns and use Shane instead of the name that was on my birth certificate. It's hard for them, but they're trying. And that's all I can really ask for. They catch themselves and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And they really, really try. And that's amazing to me. I couldn't ask for anything more. So in that sense, I'm going to leave this as is. And it's going to be my semi-coming out story. And if you want to comment down below and tell me about your story or your way of coming out and what your family said and what your friends said, go ahead and let me know. We can start a conversation. make sure to hit subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. Thanks, guys. See ya.